Chapter 14. When the alarm on Chase's phone went off, he was already awake and alert. Being up so early wasn't because of the bed he slept in was uncomfortable, quite the contrary. It was adjustable to please the fussiest of sleepers who wanted it softer or firmer or elevated or leveled. In fact, he had the best night's rest he'd had in years. And it was partly thanks to the bed, but also because of Maggie. His meeting with Maggie yesterday had lifted his spirits. For the first time in his existence, he had hoped that he could lead a normal life. He couldn't wait for his next meeting later this morning. She promised him she and the other witches at Beyond the Horizon would do their best to come up with a spell and potion to undo the curse. She'd been sincere in her promise. He saw it in her eyes. They were the portals to people's souls. One could behold another's intentions, whether they were good or bad, through them. People's eyes never lied as far as Chase was concerned. He stretched in bed, threw the covers off, and swung his feet to the floor. He meandered to the bathroom to shower and shave. Once he was done and dressed, he set out to find the cafeteria. The annex in which his room was situated was next to the main building. He thought it would be easy to find his way to the cafeteria, housed on the first floor of the main building, but quickly got lost when he started to go in circles on his floor. "Where the hell is it?" he muttered to himself. When he spotted two guys exiting a room and heading his way, he stopped them. "Excuse me, I'm new here. I'm trying to find an elevator or the stairwell." The tall, muscular blonde guy with ice blue eyes smiled. "We're heading that way. Why don't you follow us?" He let out his breath emphatically in relief. "That's great. Thanks. I'm Chase, by the way. I'm Daryl." The blonde guy pointed to his friend standing beside him who had dark brown hair with light brown highlights. "And this is Simon." Simon nodded without saying a word. Chase nodded back, grinning. "So, you the new guy we heard was moving into the empty room near us?" "Yeah, I got here late yesterday." "Well, finding your way around here takes getting used to, but once you get familiar with the layout, you'll like it," Simon said as they made their way through an unmarked door, which led to the elevator and stairwell. Chase stared at the door in amusement. "No wonder I couldn't find the elevator or the stairs. They're hidden." Once they entered the elevator, Daryl pushed the lit lobby button. "So why did you decide to come here?" he asked. "I need help with a problem. Maggie said she could help me," Chase said in vagueness. He didn't want to divulge any of his personal drama to strangers. Looking at Simon with a mischievous grin, Daryl asked, "The rumor going around here is that you're normal. You're not from the magic world." The elevator doors swished open. The lobby was bustling with teens talking and walking about. Observing the crowd, Chase nodded. "Yeah, I am." Daryl leaned in to tell him in a low tone, so he was the only one who could hear. "I heard there's another non-magical resident here. And just like you, she arrived yesterday." As they entered the colossal cafeteria and got in the long line, Daryl pointed with his chin. "That's her, the redhead serving food." When Chase followed Daryl's scrutinizing gaze, he let his jaw drop. "Brianna, you know her?" Simon asked. He shook his head. "No, I bumped into her yesterday." He continued to stare at her while he advanced in the line, getting closer to her station where she served 3 different sorts of eggs. She looked even prettier than she did yesterday. Her hair was tied tightly into a bun, and she wore a white apron. When it was his turn to ask for eggs, he didn't speak. He just gawked at her, smiling like an idiot. She looked up at him, recognizing him instantly as her eyes lit up. She smiled, which captivated him. "Hi, what type of eggs do you want?" "We have boiled, poached, or scrambled," she asked. "Scrambled, please." She scooped up a big mound onto a plate and handed it to him. "Here you go." "Thanks." He grabbed the plate and just stood there staring at her, his mind a complete blank on what to do next. Daryl nudged him. "Dude, stop gawking and keep walking." Embarrassed he'd been caught ogling, he advanced feeling his cheeks heat up. Chapter 15. Chase never got a chance to talk to her. He tried to sit at a table close to where Brianna stood serving, but they'd all been taken. He continued to glance at her to see if she was looking his way without being conspicuous. He couldn't risk Daryl noticing and embarrassing him again. Daryl and Simon had invited him to sit with them while they ate and then to join them afterward while they went swimming. He'd thanked them for the offer, but said he had an appointment scheduled with Maggie. He said he'd do something else with them when he was free. After eating the warm, filling bacon and eggs breakfast, he'd set out to find Maggie. But before he did that, he downloaded the custom-made app on his phone that had an interactive map to help him get around Simon had suggested he use. As he walked away, he made a mental note to come back early tomorrow morning when the cafeteria wouldn't be crowded. He hoped Brianna would be here, and he could get a chance to talk to her. The user-friendly app got him to Maddie's office in less than 10 minutes. He wiped his clammy hands on his jeans before he knocked. "Come in." He heard Maggie's voice come through the door. He opened it and peeked in. Maggie sat at her desk, sipping from a cup. "Close the door, Chase, and come sit here." Once he did, she gestured to the pitcher on a tray. "Would you like some bubble tea?" He shook his head. "No, thanks. I just finished having breakfast." "So how do you like your room?" she asked before taking a sip. "It's great. I slept well." She smiled. "I'm glad to hear it. We want you to feel at ease and at home while you stay here. Things may get stressful as we progress with your treatment, so we want you to be relaxed and comfortable when we're not working on breaking the curse's spell." He gulped nervously. What she said made it sound like the treatment would be painful. As if sensing his apprehension, she said, "Chase, don't worry. It sounds worse than it will be. I promise you won't be strapped to an operating table. We won't be poking you or probing. This is not the Salem witch trials." He forced a smile at her humor. "What will we be doing first?" he inquired curiously. She grabbed the pitcher to pour more bubble tea in her cup. "Well, that depends on how you answer some preliminary questions." The handle slipped out of her hand, and the entire contents of the pitcher spilled onto the desk, the floor, and onto Maggie's lap. She jumped up, screaming. "Damn, are you okay?" he asked, searching for anything he could use to wipe up the mess. "I'm all right. That was so stupid of me." She motioned with a halting hand. "Don't bother trying to clean this. It's sticky. If it's not cleaned correctly, it'll ruin the carpet and the desk. I'll have someone come clean it while I go change my wet clothes. Why don't you sit and wait until I come back, and we'll resume where we left off. I won't be too long." "All right," he said as she hurried to the door. Her skirt and shirt were soaked. As she exited the room, he sat waiting, wondering and worrying what the preliminary questions she'd ask him soon would be and should he answer truthfully. He wasn't comfortable if she'd ask him extremely private questions, and he prayed this session or any of their future ones would not come to that.